All right, we're up to that time of year where there's new stuff going on every day. We're getting close to the trade deadline. Now, here's the interesting thing. Dmitry Yashkin didn't participate in a recent practice. The idea was that they were going to waive Yashkin. No, they've waived Devontae Smith-Pelly. The Capitals have. I would anticipate him being claimed. I look at Calgary as a potential for Devontae Smith-Pelly. He's a playoff hero last year. Good depth forward. Maybe Vegas would look at picking him up. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Because again, if you're a team that needs a little bit of depth going into a playoff run, maybe. So that's a surprise for me. Matt Duchene's played his last game as an Ottawa Senator. He is not going to play between now and the trade deadline. So either he's getting an extended rest before picking up his Senators gear and getting ready to play again after the deadline, or he's getting traded. Stone and Dzingel, nothing about them being scratched or anything like that yet, and I don't anticipate there will be. I think Duchene is done in Ottawa. And I would imagine the ask for Duchene may be a little bit less than the ask for Stone. Stone is seen as like the heart and soul of the Ottawa Senators, so if they were going to trade him, they'd want a ransom back. And Duchene, for whatever reason, isn't seen that way, even though Matt Duchene this year has played some of his best hockey of his entire career. I think this is his best season he's ever had, but, So who's going to take Duchene? There have been a lot of rumors about who might. But again, he seems to be the guy because he is now no longer going to play games for the Ottawa Senators. Haley's been claimed back by the San Jose Sharks. He was a Florida Panther, Michael Haley. Now he's back in San Jose. It's a very minor move, but since it's a waiver claim, I thought I'd go ahead and throw it in. Mike McKenna's on waivers, so Vancouver, you're up. Does Vancouver put in a claim for McKenna and try to send him to Utica? What's going to happen? This is what Vancouver had anticipated happening about a month ago. There were too many goalies in Philly. You can't have four, so they're going to waive the easiest one to waive, 35-year-old Mike McKenna. So he's on the move again. And Gudas is to have a hearing for a high stick last night on Nikita Kucherov. And whether it's a fine or suspension, I'll do a video for that if that comes down. But he's having a hearing for a high stick against Nikita Kucherov. And Gudas, I believe, has a previous history of suspension. I'm trying to think. I mean, he's a tough player. I don't know offhand whether or not he's been suspended for it before. A lot of people attacking Jack Johnson. Jim Rutherford is not one of them. Jack Johnson signed by Pittsburgh. I said last summer I thought it was too much money in term for Johnson. He had a miserable season in Columbus. His season in Pittsburgh hasn't been a whole lot better, but Jim Rutherford does see it as being better. So in Rutherford's eyes, Johnson's a fantastic, he's a good defenseman. He says he's played well and he has no problem with him. And I'm not sure what Rutherford's going to say other than that is, he's crap and I gave him a contract. I can't trade the contract, so whatever. So he's not going to do that. Rutherford's a professional. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily surprised by him defending Jack Johnson. This is his free agent signing from last summer. And he may very well be saying, you know what, this guy can still probably play a little bit better than what he's playing, but, we're going to give him the time to work it through. The Islanders have come out in defense of John Tavares. So this is kind of what I was waiting for after the Robbie Shrimp blow up. And what's funny is, and there's still some people who don't like that I reported on it, but it was huge all over social media. This whole thing, Robbie Shrimp comes out and talks about Tavares, and it's huge. And what was said is some of what Islanders fans have said as well. And this Islanders Leafs narrative has been out there. Not only that, but assistant GM for the Leafs, Lou Lamoriello, he was never really truly the general manager of the Leafs. He was just there as a stopgap. But he goes over to become general manager of the Islanders. When he goes there, he brings Komarov and Martin from the Leafs over to the Islanders. There are a lot of crossovers between these teams. Now you've got the two fan bases seemingly not in sync on the issue of John Tavares. So Rob Schremp comes out and he says what he says about Tavares. I made a statement on myself that I still believe that the New York Islanders are better off. I think Tavares is better off as well. I think everybody's better off in this situation, but it's a very polarizing issue, right? So Islanders players who've played with him have come out and said they never saw selfishness in his game. The most interesting one to me was defenseman Hickey, Thomas Hickey, had a play where in the year that Tavares finished 1 point short of the scoring title that went to Jamie Benn, there was a shot taken by Hickey. They gave credit to Tavares for the goal. Tavares went to them after and said, I never touched that puck. And to Hickey, that said a lot, because his points don't, like he said himself, he said, my points don't matter. His did, and he was going to the official scoring and going, nah, I didn't touch that puck. That's his goal. So a goal that cost him a scoring title, and Tavares' attitude was, eh. So that says a lot right there. And that's kind of what I was looking for in response to the Shrimp article. It's really interesting because, again, we don't hear this side of hockey players. We don't see this side of things until they're all retired. After they're retired, we hear all of the truths of all of this. And now, you know, it isolates Shrimp and leaves him more on an island than what he was before. And you know, it'll be interesting to see if Shrimp kind of, I don't know, what do you do at this point? Do you just say, well, it was my opinion, and just drop it and never bring it up again? Or does he say something else? It's interesting because, again, I know there's always stuff that I've heard, like the gossipy stuff that I hear. I get it every now and then. I'll hear an email or I'll get a message from somebody, hey, did you hear this happened in the locker room with this player and this player? And I go, okay, that's interesting and it's juicy gossip, but I'm not reporting it on my channel. And that's why when something comes out like that, I go, you know what? This is newsworthy because the player himself is coming out and saying it. So the Islanders defending Tavares is interesting because tomorrow night, Tavares will play for the first time at Nassau Coliseum since going to Toronto. And we'll see how Islander fans greet him then. I'm guessing he gets booed every time he touches the puck. But I would be very surprised if it's anything other than that. And I don't take that as being like this huge horrible insult either for him. It's sort of the way that works is when it's a controversial move like that, you're going to get booed by those fans when you go back. And I don't think he expects anything different. So this whole debate, you know, it's an interesting one because Tavares is one of the more secretive, quiet hockey players in the league. Really keeps to himself. It's part of the reason why there were a lot of us, myself included, that thought, well, he's not going to go to Toronto because he really likes his privacy. Well, he's in the Toronto market. He seems to be enjoying it. And again, I still feel like him going to Toronto is like Kessel going to Pittsburgh, and that it's just a better setup for him because he doesn't have to be the man every night. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tap it upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.